how are you doing today? I hope you are having a marvelous day. We are having an exceptional day here. Today is the 6th of November. If you know that you have not voted yet, go out and vote. I don't know when this video is going to be out, but it is extremely important that you vote. As a matter of fact, the emphasis on your vote cannot be overemphasized. Does that even make sense? Hi guys. So I wanted to answer a question. Someone sent me a question that I'm going to be answering from my phone. I'm going to be reading the question from my phone actually. So the person said, so with communion, right? Let's say you sin and you don't do anything for a good month and you ask for forgiveness and you ask for forgiveness, can you take communion again? This is a very interesting question. It's a very good question because I feel like a lot of Christians don't take communion, and I'm not sure, but I perceive that this person is probably from a Catholic background, in which case it would make sense because you know how when you are in a Catholic church, which as most of you may or may not know, I'm actually Catholic. I was born Catholic and then I converted to Pentecostal, which is one of the best decisions I've made. That's a story for another day. But when it comes to taking communion and asking God for forgiveness, the moment you recognize that you've sinned and you ask God for forgiveness, He forgives you right away. Now you have to accept His forgiveness. You have to know that, okay, God has forgiven me. I accept His forgiveness. The reason why you have to accept His forgiveness is because sometimes if you don't know your place in God, if you don't know that God has actually forgiven you, if you don't know that God is not going to count your sin against you, the devil can use that as a tool to guilt trap you. What do I mean by guilt trapping you? That when you come to the presence of God and you lift up your holy hand, the devil can tell you, oh, put down your hand, please. Like, we don't know who you are and what you've been doing. But remember, you ask God for forgiveness, right? So when you know who you are, when you ask God for forgiveness, it's very important for you to accept the forgiveness of God so that you don't go dwelling in your sin when God doesn't even remember it actually. You don't go dwelling in your sin when God is saying, I forgive you. You ask for forgiveness. That sin is normal. I'm not going to hold it against you. Why don't you hold that sin against yourself? So it is very important that you accept the forgiveness of God, which is why the Bible emphasized in Lamentation 3 verse 22 to 23, it says the mercies of God are new every morning, which means every morning you have a Lord new fresh mercy that is untouched, that is for you. So you have to know to take that mercy that God has released. You have to know to take that grace that God has released, His faithfulness, His undying love, His limitless love, His unfailing love, His love that has absolutely no boundary. You know, I used to think before if I sin, if I do something bad to God, there's one thing that I'm gonna do that is gonna make God to stop loving me. So I always used to tiptoe around God, and this is actually something that I struggled with when I was still trying to build my relationship with God, because I always used to feel like, you know, I'm gonna do that one thing that is going to make God dislike me. I'm going to do that one thing that is going to make God not love me anymore. But the truth is, there is nothing that I can ever do to make God not love me anymore. Now, when it comes to sin, you not sinning, you obeying God, it's actually your act of love towards God. So it's okay for you to ask for forgiveness when you sin against God. But what is more important and ask, you know, like that asking for forgiveness is actually not sinning against God, which often it might be difficult. By the grace of God, which the Bible says that grace has been released to us as the children of God, you are able not to sin against God. But what comes out of your sin is, you know, like when you sin, it's all about your motive. Why are you doing this? Is it because of selfishness, to please yourself? If it is to please yourself, then you know that you're being so selfish that you're not even thinking about God, the one person that loves you. So when you don't sin against God, you're more like telling God, you know, I really, really want to steal this right now. This money looks so good. I want to steal this money, but because of the love I have for you, I'm not going to do it. So when you don't do things, bad things, you know, it can be anything at all, any sin at all that comes to your mind, or any sin at all that you're usually, you know, like tempted with, is when you don't do it, when you don't give into it, is mostly because you are telling God, because of the love I have for you, I'm not going to do this. So when you don't sin, it's an act of love towards God that makes you not to sin. It's because you're not selfish that makes you not to sin. So which brings me back to when you ask for forgiveness, yes, you can still go ahead and take your communion because you've already asked God for forgiveness. He has already accepted your forgiveness. He has already forgiven you. Now you have to move. You have to move past it. You have to recognize that God has forgiven you, and you have to know that, you know, because God has forgiven me, I am not going to hold this against myself. Neither am I going to let the devil hold it against me. I hope that answers your question, and I hope to be hearing from you. In my next video, I'm going to be addressing another question. So I'm very, very happy to be hearing from all of you guys. Honestly, I cherish the love and the support. But what is burning in my heart is to see people love God. Because when people love God, they are able to know God for themselves. So I want people to love God. I want young people, most especially, to come to know God, to love God, so that they can know God and experience God for themselves. It's such a beautiful thing. I wish I could just open people's brain and put it in it. But that's not how God is. He's a free will loving God. So he wants you to come to him freely. Anyway, guys, I hope that answered your question. And I hope to be hearing back from you soon. So like I said, in my next video, I'm going to be addressing the next question. Have a wonderful day. Bye.